Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars Wrestling Review Series 1992, and September 19th, 92 is our program today. Glenn Ruth against the Hitman Bret Hart, former Intercontinental Champion. Hart, of course, less than 2 months away from winning the World Championship first time here. I don't even know that as this event takes place that was part of the plan, but Glenn Ruth, a future headbanger about 5 years later, but here he gets rather unceremoniously taken apart by Bret Hart. They are setting up Papa Shango and Bret Hart as a program. Papa Shango claiming in a mini promo, inset promo, that he was the reason that Bret Hart lost the Intercontinental Championship. Lights a book on fire, potentially a book of spells, whatever have you. Kicks and suplexes by Hart early. I will say Hart very dominant, a little more aggressive this time. We see the second rope elbow, followed by the backbreaker, and then the sharpshooter by Hart. This becomes obviously his signature series, but I think it's the first time we've seen it in order here. Update on Randy Savage. They kind of re-show his world title loss and the aftermath of that they showed last week. The match in its entirety, I believe, shown on Primetime Wrestling from Monday night. We then move to Ross Greenberg against Shawn Michaels. Sherry holding a larger mirror, heart-shaped, with paper mache on the back of it. Michaels, less than 2 months away from winning the Intercontinental, or just about 2 months away, or a month away actually, because it wins at the end of October, from winning the Intercontinental Championship for the first time. So that's the chronology of where we are there. The original thought was that Michaels would defeat Hart until they got the Wembley opportunity, and then Bulldog made sense. Bulldog also proved himself with his health-related issues and dependency-related issues, not particularly to be dependable there. I don't know that Shawn Michaels picking up the belt that quickly was the original plan. I know him picking up the belt was the plan, but anyway, Greenberg misses a crossbody. Michaels ducks out of the way and basically mocks his opponent for that. Standing dropkick by Michaels gets him where he wants to be, and then a vertical snap suplex by Michaels. Sherry on the outside, still very, very happy. A little bit of a hang time on the suplex, almost a nod to the eventual match with the Bulldog. I think you could make that inference if you really wanted to read into it. Michaels with the foot in the corner, and then we see the super kick as the I believe the finish. I don't know that he picks him up after it. Maybe he does. But we do see the super kick becoming more and more of the... Yeah, he actually does pick him up for the back suplex. But the super kick becoming part of Shawn's arsenal, and probably by about 1993-ish, late 93 to early 94, it becomes his permanent finisher. Anyway, Event Center... Big Boss Man talks about Nails, talks about Law, Order, and Justice, talks about wanting to get even with Nails stalking him in his backyard, etc. and so forth there. Then we see Rick Martel kind of talking about being a model. He doesn't really have a program at this point. Having a tennis racket, kind of being nondescript, not really in a program. I think Martel might have seen his last official program with Tatanka. They seem to be moving Tatanka towards a program with the Mountie for house shows. Matter of fact, that match is up next. But Martel, kind of nearing the end of his career. He's around for about another year or so. But more to put talent over, not really having a clear definition. Anyway, the Mountie and Tatanka, a big match for the time period. Mountie saying he's the Mountie and no one's going to stop him. This is a big match for the time period on a syndicated program like Superstars. Tatanka still undefeated. He is undefeated until sometime in 1994, But regardless, this is a good match. I will say I've always been partial to the Jacques Rougeau character, be it in the WWF as part of the Fabulous Rougeaus, as the Mountie. I wasn't so much a fan of his when he moved to WCW because I think he added a little extra weight, and that did not bode well for him. But for several years, I think he actually was underrated. Lots of leapfrogs and stuff. Anyway, chops by Tatanka. Tatanka makes a bit of a comeback. Tatanka looks to be in good shape. Mountie goes butt over tea kettle to the outside after a few series of chops. Mountie comes back in from behind, and Jimmy Hart interferes in the match a few times here. This is the first time just up on the apron, causing verbal distractions, and then, Atomic drops after a poke to the eye by Tatanka. It always shocks me that babyfaces do heelish-related moves and nobody seems to care. Anyway, Irish whip and a shot to the gut by Tatanka. Tatanka manages to, kind of go a little bit crazy. Manages to get hung up in the corner by Jimmy Hart after the Mountie takes some cheap shots, hangs him up backwards, tree of woe. Mountie takes time to brag. Could have easily, at least some would say, beaten Tatanka here, but doesn't. The bragging doesn't pay off. Tatanka comes back with a series of chops. Really a good TV match for the time period and the nature of what they're trying to do. I think really the plan was to try to get Tatanka ready for WrestleMania, even starting here in late September. Obviously, WrestleMania 9, not till April. But he needed more television time and doing amazing things. Maybe they didn't know they were going with Shawn Michaels Tatanka at WrestleMania 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 months early. But still, moving him into something with the Mountie is a bigger thing. The shock stick is gotten by Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart up on the apron. Tries to kick the Mountie and does kick the Mountie. The shock stick. He misses. Tatanka goes to the outside with that. Referee bails out with it, and Tatanka comes back in, hits a big tomahawk chop. The shock stick is taken away, and then we see more chops by Tatanka. Tatanka continues to go nuts, and it's kind of there. Mountie bails out, takes the count out loss. Event Center Virgil, kind of, again, a guy post SummerSlam not really having a program, just talks about being ready to take on all comers. Again, goes back to talking about Nails and Papa Shango and the like. Anyway, Event Center with Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon talks about Macho Man not being very macho, being the dirt under his fingernails. Very disrespectful kind of talks there. Then we move to Nails versus Kerry Davis. As mentioned, Nails, one of my least favorite guys from the time period, just because punch, kick, choke is just about all he does. The 2 or 3 minutes that he's in the ring, that's where they go with it. Obviously, he's still a couple of months away from the blow-off with the Boss Man, so everything ever done in insets and promos still about the Boss Man. They blow that off the end of November in 92. Randy Savage talks about taking Razor Ramon to the woodshed, getting the world championship back, and kind of managing to prove that he is in fact still the Macho Man. Tony DeVito of the Baldies fame and NECW and various things here, seen in a squash match with Kamala. Kamala, Kemshi, and Harvey Whipple making their way out, still playing on the Undertaker thing that doesn't get blown off till Survivor Series. Amazing to me, you can get 2 pay-per-views out of something. You get, from let's say, June to November, December out of a program, 5 or 6 months out of a program. Certainly not the 80s where you got even more than that, but imagine getting 5 or 6 months out of a program in WWE these days. They couldn't do it if their lives depended on it in most cases. You might see it once a year if you're lucky in the current program, and I do think fans would sit through it. I think New Japan has shown that. I think AEW has shown that fans are more patient than given credit for, and certainly independent companies do it all the time. But WWE just doesn't know how to do it anymore. Anyway, big splash by Kamala. Has not flipped his man over. He gets the victory after flipping him over. Natural Disasters promo up next, and also, but before that, we hear the gong of the Undertaker. Kamala runs away, etc., and so forth. But Natural Disasters promo, and they basically offer to take on all comers, as does the British Bulldog with his promo. Kind of hints at Shawn Michaels, but not really. Wants to be a fighting champion, and that will close us for today. We'll be back with more right after this.